Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emily. Thanks for tuning in again. Today I'm going to be telling you about all the books that I want to read in 2020. I'm going to fucking sneeze. So, I know that we're all kind of sick of 2020 books and like New Year book style videos. You know what I mean? Like the books that I read in 2019 or books that I want to read in 2020 or a series that I have to finish or a series that I won't be picking up this year. Like I know we're all really sick of those videos right now, but I just want to add one more to that pot, you know what I mean? Today I'm going to be talking about all the books and series that I want to read in 2020. These are books that I want to read or series that I want to finish or series that I want to start or books that I'm in the middle of. So it's like kind of a mashup of a whole bunch of different books that I want to read in 2020. So the first book that I want to read in 2020 is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Everybody and their mother has read this book, except for me. The reason I haven't read this book, and I swear it's a good reason, I was trying to read the entire Grisha trilogy before I read this book because I had heard someone say, and actually I've heard this from several people, that the magic system isn't very well explained in this book because the entire Grisha trilogy was set up to explain the magic system. So I wanted to understand the magic system fairly well before I dove into a series that was like, I wanted to understand the magic system before I dove into a entire world created by this author, because I think that that's kind of an important thing to do. But this book, if you didn't know, is about a heist, and that's all I know because that's all anybody tells anybody about this book. It's a heist, and there's 6 people, and the characters are fantastic, and that's what I've heard, and that's what I'm sticking with. Okay, the next book is kind of fun because, actually, it's kind of funny because I've been in the middle of this book since June, like when it came out, like June 2019. Oh, she's a thick boy. Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This book has been around since like I think June or May of 2019, and I've owned it since June. I had the ebook originally and I was reading it on the ebook. It's just been a very slow read for me, like very slow read. But you know what? I love every second of it. It's just every time I pick it up, I enjoy it so much. You know what? I've been savoring it a little bit too long. She's going stale. You know, I need to get a move on. Like I got to do other things in my life other than just read Priory. So in 2020, I would like to finish Priory of the Orange Tree. Holding that book up has me out of breath. The next book that I really want to pick up in 2020 is, again, a book I don't really know all that much about. Every time somebody describes this book, they say very few words about it. And that is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This one I hope to get to in the month of February because I know that it's Black History Month. I really only want to read Black authors in the month of February, and so if you didn't know, N.K. Jemisin is a Black woman. Here she is in all her splendor and glory. So this book is essentially about, just because I read the summary on supersummary.com, this book is about a world where there's one single continent. This continent is kind of like controlled by a lot of really intense seismic activity. So whenever this seismic activity happens, their world and their culture and their people and their cities and the infrastructure and literally everything in their society falls to pieces. And apparently there's something in this book called a fifth season, which is like a volcanic winter, which sounds really awful. And I guess from what else that I know about this book is that we follow 3 women in this series. But yeah, mostly I just really want to read this book because it's got some prestigious awards. It won the Hugo Award. It actually won 3 years in a row, the Hugo Awards for Best Novel. It is also a New York Times Notable Book of 2015. I really want to support N.K. Jemisin and read her books. And I know she has a ton of other series, so I'd really love to get into her writing and get into her books. The next series that I really want to read in 2020 is The Lord of the Rings. This is a series that I have just seen it all over the place. I want to read it because it's a classic fantasy staple. Like, you have to read Lord of the Rings. I'm a little bit intimidated by Tolkien's writing, but I'll be okay. Okay, kind of going along with that is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I want to read this for the same reasons that I want to read Lord of the Rings, but also because Daniel Green talks about this on his channel all the time, And I know that there is an Amazon adaptation coming out of this series soon, and I would like to be kind of, at least I want to be done with the first book before it comes out. And not to mention my friend, I have a friend who's currently reading this and he loves it. This is a 14 book epic tale of same kind of this, it's similar to Lord of the Rings, I think. I actually don't know too much about what it is, but it's an epic tale of epic proportions. It's very long, but it's also very well written, and there's so many different things in it that make it one of the, it's, people call it some of the greatest modern fantasy series of all time. A lot of people rank it very high on that list, and I want to give it a go. All right, so we're kind of like switching it up a little bit, but the next series that I want to finish in 2020 Throne of Glass. Oh, Throne of Glass. So the reason I am holding up Tower of Dawn is because Tower of Dawn is the second to last book in the series, and I only have to read Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash, and then I'm done. And the only reason that I want to finish the series is because I heard there was a crossover of ACOTAR in Kingdom of Ash. I heard that I don't know what that means necessarily. So if you don't know what Throne of Glass is about, God, where have you been? But Throne of Glass is about this assassin named Selena Sardathian, and she is basically thrown in these like slave labor camp to die. And then the king of Adarlan, is that how you say that name? Adarlan, I think it's how you pronounce it. He brings her out of the slave labor camp, and he's like, I need you to be my royal assassin, but you have to partake in these crazy trials. And so she does all of that and becomes his royal assassin, and then hijinks ensue. And the series really took off. I hated it around Queen of Shadows. It was the worst series I ever read, but I don't like to leave series unfinished. I like to give it a go until it's finished, and I'm almost at the finishing point. I just have to make it through Tower of Dawn and then Kingdom of Ash. And then I'll have it done, and then I can like stop thinking about it. It can stop haunting me. But I did enjoy the series up until Heir of Fire, and then once we get to Queen of Shadows, I was just like, I don't like this book. And then I didn't like Empire of Storms either. So the last book in 2020 that I want to read is The Odyssey by Emily Wilson. This is a translation by Emily Wilson. According to the interwebs, the first translation of The Odyssey into English was done by Emily Wilson. That's not to say there weren't other women that came before her that translated it into other languages, but this is apparently the first translation in English done by a woman. So I want to read this because I love women and I love Greek mythology. Greek mythology, if you didn't know, is one of my favorite things. Circe is my favorite book of all time. This, I feel like, could come in and take that place. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, I love Greek mythology. It's one of my biggest passions. It's been one of my biggest passions since probably 6th grade when I discovered Greek mythology. My mom gave me her copy of Mythology, edited by Edith Hamilton. And I fell in love with reading that copy, and my copy fell apart until I bought a new one when I was like 20. So yeah, Greek mythology is my favorite thing. And you know what? I can't claim to be a mythology fan unless I haven't read the actual like poems, the epic poems. So I want to read this year. This is the year that I actually read this poem. So that's all I have books wise, but now I kind of want to shift gears a little bit and talk about some kind of categories that I want to get into this year. So for 2020, I would really like to read more nonfiction. I discovered last year that I really like to read nonfiction. I picked up Marie Kondo's book on a whim. I decided to read it, and I had a really good time. It was really good. I took a lot away from it. I learned a lot. I came away from my reading experience actually having some knowledge, and that was really different for me because I read for pleasure and I read for escapism, and that's great and that's fine and that's amazing. But I feel like I want to read for more. Now, I want to read nonfiction instead of for learning, for academic learning, but for like pleasure learning. So I want to read some books that maybe have to do with crime, like psychology, maybe, spirituality I'd love to learn about. I'd love to learn some more about History. I love to read like popular history books instead of like academic history books, because if you've ever read an academic history book, my God, they are dry. I actually I read the first couple chapters of a really great book called The Radium Girls. I don't remember who the author was, but I really want to finish that book. So that'll give you a clue as to what I kind of want to read nonfiction about. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below if you want. Subscribe, hit the bell notification. See you in the next one. Bye.